Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on. On this channel, we are going to talk about cryptocurrency and the new financial system. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. How many people do you think were at the Bitcoin conference in the year 2013? Let me know in the comments. I can tell you there was 20,000 in Nashville this year at the Bitcoin conference when President Trump and RFK Jr. spoke, amongst many other people. Show a huge jump. We've got that today, and we've got Mr. Poole, we've got Smoke Dog, and we've got Lori Reports talking about the latest and greatest in the cryptocurrency world. Let's jump into pricing first. Bitcoin up above 63,000. Ethereum on a hot streak at 2,649, up 2.57%. Tether sitting at a market cap of 119.10 billion. Solana down slightly at 143 and XRP at 58.5 cents. Not much movement on the XRP front. Do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. It certainly helps the channel, and I appreciate your support. Let's take a look at the news and start with Cypress Demonicor here. He is talking about a company here. This guy finds great videos, by the way. He says, this is massive. A representative from an SEC regulated company mentions that 0% allocation to crypto is the wrong answer. The banks are coming. And we can feel that more and more with some of the news that we're hearing lately. So let's take a quick listen to this video from Cypress.
I think digital assets do have some non-correlated returns in a portfolio. And from your perspective, what is the appropriate level of allocation that institutional investors should consider when they're looking at bringing digital assets into a portfolio?
So what I'd like to say is that zero allocation to the space is the wrong answer. More than 2 to 10%, 10% if you can't stand it, if you're not all in on the space, is also the wrong answer. This is a nascent asset class. It is risky. But what has us all excited about the space is the asymmetry of risk reward. So as long as the risk is mark-to-market loss, permanent loss you don't come back from. So FTX, if you had all your money on that exchange, you lost it. Although actually a parenthesis, in my decades in the market, I have never seen a company coming out actually of Chapter 7, liquidation, not Chapter 11.
So I'll leave it right there. I don't want to...
I'll stop the video there as well. So it's just clear that this woman believes that you should not have 0% allocation to crypto. Once it's available, if it's not available in your sector, she believes you should have some exposure to it. Moving on to Cointelegraph here, and here's a very successful entrepreneur, Richard Branson. He is asking about Bitcoin here, and let's give this a listen.
Well, I think it is working, and there will be other currencies like it that may be even better. But in the meantime, there's a big industry around Bitcoin, and people have made fortunes out of Bitcoin. Some people have lost money out of Bitcoin.
It's volatile. It's volatile.
Yeah, but it is quite volatile. But when in volatility, people can make money out of volatility. I think it is working,
So apologies there. It was hard to hear that video for some reason. I tried turning it up, but it did not work too well. Anyway, Richard Branson here says, I think it's working, and there will be other currencies like it that may be even better. In the meantime, there's a big industry around Bitcoin, and people have made fortune out of Bitcoin. So Richard Branson there on the state of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Here is something I talked about in the open, and Cointelegraph brought it back to us. Andreas Annapolis. He says he's talking about Bitcoin here at the Bitcoin conference in 2013, and there was 5 people in the room. This was at the Bitcoin 2013 conference, and Bitcoin was around $100. Let's take a listen to this because this guy is brilliant and he knows his Bitcoin. So take a listen.
The topic I want to talk about today is Bitcoin neutrality. Bitcoin neutrality. What does Bitcoin neutrality mean? Neutrality in Bitcoin means being able to adopt Bitcoin in any culture, any language, any religion, any geography, but also any political or economic system. So Bitcoin neutrality is about making Bitcoin a standard that is independent of your desires and expectations. This isn't a libertarian currency any more than it's a communist currency. It's a currency, and it can be applied to any political system, whether it is the political system you like or not. It's a neutral currency. So what does neutrality mean? Neutrality doesn't mean no principles. Neutrality is a principle in itself. And in fact, what I'm here to talk to you about today is that neutrality is the most important principle in Bitcoin. And most of the other great things derive from that. If you want to really understand how neutrality will affect Bitcoin in the future, we need to look at what has happened with the internet and TCP/IP in terms of neutrality. On the internet, anyone can publish with the same voice that Time Warner and CBS and ABC and CNN have. So neutrality is about being able to balance things so that it doesn't matter who the sender is or the recipient is, how big the transaction is, what type of transaction it is, whether it's buying gold, camels, or drugs. Neutrality means that the network will process your transaction and will charge you based on how big that transaction is in the blockchain.
So great stuff there from Andreas. It's just funny to see how there was only 5 people at that Bitcoin conference in 2013, and 11 years later, 20,000 in Nashville. So that tells you a lot about where the space has come. Moving on to Smoke Dog here, he says, if XRP has a higher value, it enhances the overall solution by increasing liquidity on the network. With increased value, XRP can transfer more value than other currencies. He goes on to show here a price chart in 2017. It says when XRP was over $2, 5 per coin at the beginning of 2018, Chris Larsen, Ripple's co-founder and former CEO, was among the richest people in the world due to his shares. He says further, if XRP has a higher value, it increases the value of the solution because it increases liquidity on the network. With a higher value, XRP can convey a higher value than other currencies. He says a higher priced XRP benefits everyone involved in promoting its use case, from Ripple to banks, not just retail holders. Institutions are driving this market, and they stand to gain the most from a higher priced XRP token. So this, of course, stems from a Joel Katz tweet back in September saying, in fact, a lower price for XRP makes payments more expensive. So that's where that's stemming from. And it makes sense. So we shall see what happens once there's legal clarity and the institutions are allowed to take on some of these cryptocurrencies, not only XRP, but others, to see what happens to the value of these things. Another one from Cointelegraph here. Senator Cynthia Lummis comments on the state of crypto. Let's see what she has to say in this brief video.
Well, when I came to the U.S. Senate, nobody knew anything about digital assets. Nobody knew the difference between Bitcoin and alternative coins. And so we've worked hard to educate members of the Senate. We created a financial innovation caucus. Kirsten Gillibrand and I put together a financial framework for the management of the entire crypto industry. We now are seeing some of the fruits of those labors, planting the seeds of understanding within the Congress about how this asset class is growing, how Bitcoin is a store of value and a means of exchange, how Ethereum is possibly a blockchain platform that can be used for a variety of applications. So this is an industry that's starting to gain the attention of everyday Americans, and it's going to be an important part of our economy going forward unless we blow it.
Yes.
So good video there from Senator Cynthia Lummis. I do have heard she is backing Elizabeth Warren, which is kind of confusing as senator in Massachusetts, because Senator Warren has been anti-crypto, very much so, and I'm curious as to why she's not backing John Deaton in Massachusetts. I wish she would. So we'll see how that plays out, as there is a debate coming up between Senator Warren and John Deaton on October 10th, I believe it is. So moving on, Mr. Poole posts here, Trump says we will have currency reevaluation so everyone is on an equal playing field, so it's fair. This was during his presidency previously, so it's interesting to see what he has to say here. It's almost like he's foreshadowing here, but let's take a listen to this and listen to the words of Donald Trump discussing this reevaluation.
We have conversations with various representatives of China. I believe that will all work out very well for everybody: China, Japan, the United States, and everybody in the region. As far as the currency devaluations, I've been complaining about that for a long time. And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field. Because that's the only way it's fair. That's the only way that you can fairly compete in trade and other things. And we will be on that field, and we will all be working very hard to do great for our country. But it has to be fair, and we will make it fair. I think the United States is going to be an even bigger player than it is right now by a lot. We have a conversation.
So he says we will make it fair. It's almost, I say foreshadowing. It's he was probably fed information. He probably has inside information. These things take years, obviously, to get up to speed, to gain mass adoption. I mean, when did Bitcoin come out? 2009. And we went from 5 people in 2013 to 20,000 at the Bitcoin conference. So these things take time to build up. And, perhaps he had inside information there. We shall see. Let's hear from John Deaton here, if we have time, on a quick video regarding Ripple and the SEC. Let's take a listen to John here quick.
Solution of the Ripple case, the due process that we went through, and the $15 billion that you addressed here.
It is a massive waste of money and capital and energy. I mean, let's look at some facts, right? When the lawsuit was listed, XRP lost $15 billion immediately. People were liquidated. But Ripple spent over $100 million in defense. I spent all my time because the SEC did something that it had never done in 75 years of securities litigation. It claimed that the underlying asset, XRP, itself was a security. And then I challenged it and sued the SEC. And I simply said, just take away that language and I'll go away, and my 75,000 token holders will go away. And they refused. And
so we'll stop it there. Great stuff from Good Morning Crypto. John says this was intentional misconduct by the SEC lawyers. People should be fired because it was so blatant, and people haven't been fired yet. So we'll see what happens there when a new president comes in. But thank you for tuning in. We'll see you on the flip side.